then Anthony Woodard, right after that, took it 1 yard in for the touchdown. On the ensuing kickoff, Jamarius Rule, a player that we kind of had circled on Muskegon Heights, is a very dangerous player. His only real impact in the game, but it was a 94-yard kickoff return. And I guess if there was anything to take away from that game that you guys might have to work on, they had a lot of good field position in that game.
Yeah, they did. And, that gets to be a part of the game when we're subbing in on the normal people. And, in defense of what happened there, we have a normal group of 11 who are down covering kicks. And they kind of learn the job. And when you start putting people in, because, again, you're trying to get your kind of your starters out. And when you start putting in people that aren't used to that job, they don't necessarily know the assignment. Because there is assignments on that. It's not just run down and tackle the kid. I mean, there is a certain level of strategy involved and where you want the kick placed and, who's got contained and who's the force player and, who's the safety on the play. So it's a little more strategy than people actually see when they're just watching a game. And we kind of put some kids in a position that, as a coach, you just hope it works out good. And the kid took one, to the end zone. So, kid made a couple of real nice athletic moves. And, I guess you get a game like that where you get up by so many and you start putting your own kids in a position they're not used to. Sometimes those things happen. So, but, something that can be worked on a little bit in pregame tomorrow, no doubt.
And then in the second half of the game, we talked about a little bit earlier, but Griffin Seymour, it was kind of a weird sequence. You guys went out to punt, you punted, there was a 15-yard penalty, so you had a chance again on fourth down, and all of a sudden there's Griffin out, and he's kicking a field goal, and he nailed it.
Yeah, I believe what it was they had, I think we were backed up to 4th and 17, and then they got called for playing with 12 on the field and illegal participation, which is a 15-yard penalty. And, it put us down to a range that we know Griffin can kick it. And, again, I don't know how many points did we score, 40 or 59. And, we had scored 56 at that point, and there comes a point where how many points do you want to score? But we just didn't think there was much harm in a field goal, and we ran our field goal team out there. We ran our field goal team out there kind of late. And if a kicker wants anything, he probably wants a little bit of time to line it up and make sure that the block is set. And, it was kind of a rush sequence. So, from the right hash, and Griffin made an excellent kick, and it went through. And, you're just doing things like that. I think Griffin now is 2 for 2 on field goals for the year. And, you just you give a kid confidence, even though he's hitting it in a game where you're up by 40 points or whatever you're up by. You give the kid confidence that, I can make it in these game situations. And, he did a heck of a job with that.
There were 2 extra points where the snap didn't work, and I really commend Griffin because both times he hit the scramble play. He ran and grabbed the ball and looked for someone in the end zone both times. Unfortunately, it was incomplete one time and picked off another. But he also had an interception in that game, so he got a chance to make his impact in a lot of different ways in that game. We actually gave him our scrapyard dog after the game because it was just the kind of game that he had.
Yeah, this you mentioned about the snap not getting held by the holder. I guess that's a virus we haven't quite gotten rid of yet because it's happened in I think all 4 of the games we played so far this year. So it's definitely something we've harped on. But Griffin is just he's people don't he's a kicker, but kickers are so important to your team and tacking on those extra points and how you kick for field position and if it comes down to needing 3 points. And Griffin is a real nice athlete. I mean, Coach Holmes used to, when he was on JV, really rave about, just the athletic ability that Griffin had and how well he catches the ball. But, as a coach, my worry is if I put Griffin in an offense or something like that, I don't want our kicker to turn an ankle or hurt a knee or something like that. So I'm always, I guess in my head, I always kind of treat a kicker like I would a quarterback, because that's really a person you don't want to get hurt because he's somebody that's so valuable to the team. So, Griffin's got a lot of athletic ability, and, you put him in on defense, and he definitely showed it with that.
Quick rundown defensively, a couple guys. Lamar Jordan led the way in tackles with 6 tackles. He also had a tackle for a loss.
About time.
Alex and Jake Kimbrough and Brody Kieft each had 4 tackles. So, all in all, just an outstanding effort defensively from your guys. Yeah,
it was. And Brody Kieft, you mentioned, he's somebody who's playing up as a sophomore. And we kind of made the decision that Brody, physically had the ability to play up with us as a sophomore. And he, maybe not getting the playing time that you would expect out of a sophomore who's up on varsity. But, he's on all of our special teams, and he's able to sub in some at fullback and some at linebacker. And I think he's having a good experience. And, those are a kid like Brody, a kid like Jake Schulte, who's a sophomore, who's kind of in the mix, but maybe doesn't get the time that you would like being up on varsity, not on JV. Those are such valuable minutes, and it's the perspective from the fan is the game is over, and everybody's kind of when should we leave, and are the hot dogs half price yet, and that kind of thing. But as a coach, you're just coaching as hard as you could ever coach, because again, the player development, I don't know. I was watching some show last night, and they said ultimately you're judged by what you do in a game, and that's a fact. We really go through and review those tapes and look at those minutes that those people that sub in do, and they that's something that Brody really benefited. The last couple games, getting a lot of reps, and hopefully this week he will benefit in the same way.
And then one final thought before we take a break. Defensively for you guys, with Jamarius Rule, such a threat receiving, and we saw Tommy Scott on him quite a bit as a cornerback. And just the improvement Tommy Scott has made in the last year as a cornerback. Last year, we saw him, we knew he had a lot of speed, but he got beat on some plays. This year, he has really turned into an incredibly solid cornerback.
He really is. And we, going into the season, we really thought we had two people of really great caliber with Zach Windsor and Tommy Scott on the outside. And I think as, Mike Rebecca will tell you as a defensive coordinator that you could do a lot with the other 9 guys when you can secure the outside with only 2. And, hurting, Zach getting hurt the way he did, has hurt us and hurt a little bit of us scheme-wise, just for what it was preseason. But, Tommy's just somebody who keeps improving athletically. And we, I know the coaches over at Muskegon. I know them pretty well, and we got a chance to do some things this summer with them, throwing the ball against each other. And, that they each commented that Tommy was probably the best corner they threw against all summer, as far as the teams that they had, as far as, just being physical. And Tommy's an extremely strong kid, and Tommy's somebody who made the semifinals of the 100-meter dash at the state finals in track as a sophomore. So he's somebody with some great speed, and he's, the thing I like about Tommy just quite a bit is he loves football. He just really, I think the kid thinks about football most of the day. And that's, to me, that's you got to do your studies and stuff like that. But, at least I'll say his free time, I think he's thinking about football a lot. And that's, that's maybe a little bit of how I was when I was younger. And, you love seeing kids that really love the game and then, able to translate and make improvements as a junior. And, I know Tommy's going to be he's a valuable part of the team this year. He's going to be, even a more valuable part next year as he even assumes, maybe, physically he's going to get better, but also leadership-wise, just a role I know he's going to grow into.
All right. Why don't we take a 3-minute break? We'll be back with more of the Muskegon Catholic Coaches Show after these messages on Country 93.1.